Hello and welcome, ground schoolers, to another edition of our Partner Tracks. I am Megan Ross, your Alliance Account Manager for West and Central here at SADA, and I have the honor and pleasure to introduce you to Steve Schisler from our Alliance partner, Reltio. How you doing, Steve?
Great. Thanks, Megan, for that introduction. Today, I'm going to be talking to everyone about accelerating actionable insights, creating 360-degree views with Reltio in the Google Cloud. Just in the form of a introduction, I have been with Reltio now for a year or so, and I've been in the data management space for well over 20 years. And we're going to be talking about these concepts around master data management and how Reltio, along with Google, can accelerate these actionable insights. First of all, for those that may not know the Reltio name, a little bit of a corporate overview. Reltio has been around for about 10 years. We've got a little over 410 employees worldwide, locations all around the world, and recently received another round of funding, and that puts us at a valuation of around $1.6, $1.7 billion. So we're certainly a big player in the master data management space. And you can see on the right-hand side of the slide some of the recognized awards that we've received over the years. And also just want to mention that we do play in several different vertical industries. An important thing to note is that the world's top brands run on Reltio. So there's a lot of logos here that I'm sure you probably recognize. Two of the top healthcare service companies are running on Reltio. 9 of the top 10 global pharmaceutical brands run on Reltio. 3 global luxury goods companies, as well as 2 of the top hospitality brands. So we have a wide range of solutions that are vertically focused to help our customers. This is a representation of the Forrester Wave for 2019, 2020, and 21. Reltio has been identified as a leader in the Forrester Wave for master data management. And you can see on the graph on the right-hand side, we are up in the leaders quadrant. And this is really due to our long history in the marketplace, really also being a cloud-based software as a solution, software as a service solution from day one. Now, to get into a little bit more around our topic for today about creating actionable insights and 360-degree views of your data, you're probably well aware that organizations today are navigating great complexity when it comes to data. Companies are looking at how to become digital ready or really becoming digital first. They understand that they've got to innovate or be disrupted. And the speed of business is increasing. And so what we're seeing with all of these concepts is that data really is at the center of all of these concepts and is one of the key problems that companies have to navigate. So all of those successful initiatives that companies have, they all start with trusted data. So on the slide now, what you're looking at in the middle is a typical company and the different entities that they work with in terms of their data. They have customers that they work with. They deal with other companies. They have suppliers that they buy products or vendors that they buy products from. They have assets. They have locations. And all of those data points are coming from different locations, either within the enterprise or outside data sources that might be feeding that data in. And companies are trying to make sense of all of this data. So the path forward for these companies is that they need to create a strategic capability around their data. Well, how do they do that? They need to break down silos. They need to unlock data and get to a single source of the truth. Now, that sounds like a simple task or a simple initiative, but as you'll see as we get started, there is a lot of work that goes into that, and Reltio makes that much, much simpler for our customers. Companies also need data empowerment. They need to operationalize data across the enterprise. They need to empower their users to be able to get actionable insights from the data. Also important is a cloud-based data infrastructure. As I mentioned earlier, Reltio is a 100% cloud solution, software as a service from day one. We started as a cloud solution and we've stayed as a cloud solution, which gives our customers many, many advantages with their implementations. Obviously, being a cloud solution, trust and security is key. Safeguarding customer data is very, very important, and we obviously take that very, very seriously in terms of securing and safeguarding our customers' data. So why is Reltio different? Well, we really changed the paradigm when it comes to master data management. We've looked at master data management in a different way than a lot of our competitors, and we see that it's important to have some key tenets to the way that we implement for our customers. Number one is real-time performance. It's not just enough to have a weekly or monthly feed of data in a batch mode that goes into your master data management system. You need to have real-time performance that matches the speed of your business. It needs to be up to date and accessible everywhere, and it needs to be able to scale massively. We want to give our customers quick time to value. We want them to be able to deploy our solution in weeks as opposed to years. We provide pre-built solutions or accelerators for key use cases and verticals. And we also have a battle-tested implementation methodology. We want our customers to have trusted, insight-ready data. No matter how pretty the business intelligence reports might be, if the data is not correct and the data is not valid and it's not mastered properly, then the report really is of no value to the business. We implement data quality and data governance capabilities, and we have a very intuitive self-service UI for the business teams as opposed to the technical users. And then finally, business agility. We can extend our data model to any data source or domain. That data model is very, very flexible and can adapt to your business. As mentioned earlier, built-in security and privacy on top of that allows your business to be agile as well. So another representation here of how data may look in the enterprise. It's highly siloed and fragmented. So you see these lines that are moving all over the screen. That's the interconnectedness of the data that needs to be gathered together and organized. And this is just a simple example. You may have customers, partners, and supplier data where Jane Smith has come into the organization and she renewed a policy. Other applications may hold the data point that John Smith is in the same household as Jane. Then you have the mobile concept, mobility and devices. Maybe from the mobile device or maybe from an app on a mobile device, Jane called into support to get some help for a particular problem she's having. This is an insurance example, so maybe she filed an auto insurance claim, which is stored in a mainframe database or a mainframe system that's been around for 20, 30, or 40 years. And then with the marketing applications you see on the bottom left, Jane may have opted in for some marketing content, maybe via email or clicking on a link in an email. And so these are all different data points that you gain context about Jane or her household or her husband John. And this information sits in different locations. If it's not brought together in an MDM platform, then you really cannot gain any actionable insights about that data. Reltio and Google together are uniquely architected to unleash this innovation. You'll see many logos on the top of the slide. They can represent many different ways that data might make its way into the Reltio platform. You might see partners that we have built-in integration to. You might see enterprise applications or data sources that can provide an input of data into the Reltio platform. And then you have the power of Reltio running on the Google Cloud. That gives our customers data empowerment, interoperability, integration, and automation. And then you gain the power of what we call the Reltio data fabric. There's 10 plus years of innovation, over $185 million spent on product since inception, 2 million plus man hours with 1.6 million plus lines of code. And of course, we use a public cloud infrastructure, which allows for very fast adoption and implementation of our solution for our customers. Now, this is a much easier to understand diagram than we looked at a couple of slides ago, but it's the same exact data sources and the same exact applications that contain the information about Jane Smith and her interactions with the organization. It looks much cleaner because Reltio is sitting at the center of this problem of having so many different data sources around the enterprise. The data is brought together, cleansed, deduped, and enriched, and then can be made available as output to other data sources on the back end for marketing campaigns, for data analytics, etc. What we provide is a single version of the truth, trusted, high-quality data, real-time, always on, and it allows you to act with confidence. Now, from an architecture standpoint, there's different components that are really, really critical to the connected data platform. We're going to start at the bottom of this slide where it says modern cloud native foundation. And this is really the key foundation or building blocks that must be in place for any cloud solution. It must be multi-tenant. It must have an entity graph model. and allow for NoSQL access to that data model, built-in high availability and disaster recovery, and of course allow for zero disruption upgrades. Once you've got that foundation in place, security and compliance are critical importance. We must provide encryption at rest and in flight. And then you can also see a couple of the different certifications that Reltio has from a security and a compliance standpoint. High Trust Certified, HIPAA, SOC, SOC 2, and GDPR. And there are several others as well. So once you've got your modern cloud native foundation and the security in place, then we can talk about the types of multi-domain profiles that are supported in the Reltio platform. We offer out of the box a data model that is very simplistic in nature, but allows our customers to get a good start at building out their application. So we start with key multi-domain profiles such as a person, an organization, a supplier, product, location. Now, when you look at this from a vertical standpoint, those can be modified and configured. So if it is in a healthcare or life sciences vertical where Reltio is being deployed, the person might become a patient, or the organization might become a healthcare provider. And the data model can be easily extended based on the needs of our customers. Once you've got the data model established and you've got data loaded in and mapped over to that data model, the next line up, Entity 360 capabilities, will show you where the power of the Reltio Connected Data Platform really starts to be available to the users. Users are then using the platform at that point to do things like entity resolution, applying out-of-the-box data quality capabilities, or maybe building their own data validation functions, doing things like dynamic survivorship and determining what the rules are to build out the 360-degree view or the connected 360-degree view of a profile. Universal ID is something that we're hearing lots about today, where customers want to have a single universal ID across the enterprise. Reltio can build that ID and then make that available to pass back to the calling applications. We offer progressive stitching for matching and merging, hierarchies in a graph model, as well as data governance. Now you've got to have a way to make that platform, that connected data platform, available to other applications. We do that through our real-time integration. We offer data APIs for connectivity to different data enrichment services. We offer the Reltio Integration Hub that allows our customers the ability to build low-code or no-code, what we call recipes, to connect to literally thousands of different applications and data sources within the enterprise. We do have off-the-shelf connectors for applications like Salesforce and Dun & Bradstreet, Bureau van Dijk for data enrichment. And then we also have some off-the-shelf connectors for analytics and machine learning. Finally, we want to talk a little bit about our user interface. Everything that you see in the user interface in just a few minutes is available via REST APIs. So there's a certain function or capability that you see in the user interface. Just know that you can utilize our REST APIs to achieve that same capability through an integration point. Finally, before we start to take a look at some slides, we want to look at a final diagram to show how things might be organized in terms of sources on the left and resting and streaming APIs on the right. So again, looking at the different data sources and application types that might be coming into the Reltio Connected Data Platform, things like mobile applications, online stores, support systems, web interfaces, physical brick and mortar stores, or transactional data can all be brought into the Reltio Connected Data Platform. Reltio organizes that through our graph model and understands that we've got things like suppliers, locations, products, customers, households, and then can make that information available on the right-hand side to be passed back out to CRM applications, order management, point of sale, loyalty, CDP applications, or DMP applications, and allows that data to be connected to those applications in a logical, organized fashion. Now for the demo, we're going to look at a few different components of the Reltio Connected Data Platform. We're going to talk about some dashboards that we've got available, some out-of-the-box dashboards to help out a data steward as they're managing their way through the application. We'll talk about search because search is very, very critical to any MDM application. And then we'll do a profile review. Think of a profile as a company or an organization or a person. That's the main profile that has the ability to do things like data governance through data change requests. We'll talk about data quality and data anomalies. We'll talk a little bit about hierarchies, as well as relationships and interactions. And then finally, we'll take a look at data sources, matching, and merging. So this is an example of our data quality dashboard. This really is akin to data profiling. And so what we do is we try to give the data steward a high-level view of each of the attributes in each of the different data domains that they have in the Reltio Connected Data Platform. For example, we're looking at the tax ID field, and the dashboard is telling us that that's a string field. We can look at things like any profiles that have invalid tax IDs. We can look at the fill rate, uniqueness analysis, frequency, and also the source system analysis to determine where that data may have come from. On our main dashboard, we provide the data steward with some visualization facets that are clickable that they can drill down into. And these are just a few examples. Things like how, records by state in the USA, organizations with an invalid phone number, maybe a European distribution, or organizations with an invalid email address. On the right-hand side of the screen, we're going to take a look at the task inbox. And the task inbox allows us to see what tasks have been assigned to us. You'll notice that there's a DCR review in my task inbox, and that means that there's a data change that was applied to a particular profile. In this case, it's the Caterpillar America Services Company. There was a data change that was made, and the user, A, either didn't have access, proper security access to make the change, or B, wanted me to review that. So they assigned that to me, and it shows up in my task inbox. Also, you notice we've got some saved searches so that as a data steward, when we log into the application, we can always go in and take a look at things like data quality violations or organizations that may not have a verified address and quickly drill down to those records that we might want to review. Finally, on the dashboard is the activity log. The important thing about the activity log is that this can help, especially be valuable in data governance applications. And what I mean by that is that you can go into the activity log and you can see over time exactly what happened in the system. You can filter by users or activity type. And the activity log also, because we don't ever delete any data, can allow you to go back to a historic slice in time and view what a data record may have looked like at any point in its history, even before records were merged, and it also gives the ability to unmerge data as well. As I mentioned, search is very critical to master data management. Reltio supports 3 different ways to search the data that reside in the application. One is what we call a shopping cart experience, and I'm sure as you've been out shopping online, you may have been using a website that allows you to build in filters. For example, if you're searching for a new laptop, you might filter by the screen size, how much memory is available, the processor power, hard drive size. This works exactly the same way. So you can see on the screen that we're looking for organizations in the state of California, also in the city of San Francisco. The user interface allows you to add other attributes to the search criteria. So I could simply pick any other attribute and it would be context sensitive and understand that it's drilling down or filtering based on the fields or the attributes that have already been selected. Next, we have an advanced search, and think of this as a way to build a query without having to write any code. So you're simply selecting the fields that you want to filter on and the operator and then the value. You can also utilize the save button to save this as a search that would appear on your dashboard. We looked at one earlier when we were looking at the dashboard a few slides ago. One of them was to take a look at data quality violations. So if you always wanted to look at organizations in the city of San Francisco, state of California, you could save this search and have it available anytime you log into the application. Also, you have the ability to export data from here. So once you get down to a manageable set of data based on your search criteria or your query criteria, you could export that data. Also, you could load data in at this point through the bulk data loader. Finally, we offer a Google-like search. So you can see here that we've typed in the word CASE. This is a true multi-domain search that goes across all of the different entities in the Reltio Connected Data Platform. And you can see that as I typed in the word case, it's giving me back organizations with the letters CASE, contacts with those letters, as well as products. It pulled up 2 products that we have, a smart battery case. So this is really enabled based on the power of the connected graph that we have underneath the covers. Now let's talk about the profile view. So what you're looking at now is the default profile view. In this case, we're looking at Caterpillar. I mentioned that record earlier. You might remember that we had a DCR, a data change request review, assigned to us. In this case, you'll see that that data change request review is in red at the top of the profile, and it gives me the ability to approve, to cancel the change that's been made, or comment on that. Also, you'll notice that there are some potential matches. We're going to take a look at that in just a little bit, but this is telling us that in the Connected Data Platform, there's a potential match for this record that needs to be remediated by the data steward. Now you'll see some of the regular information that's stored in the application for Caterpillar at the profile level. We have things like the name, alternate names, we have the website URL, multiple addresses, multiple phone numbers. Also, there's a hierarchy component to the profile view. In this case, we're looking at a Dun & Bradstreet hierarchy. So we've used Dun & Bradstreet enrichment, Dun & Bradstreet data enrichment to build out the D&B hierarchy. Also, there's a global account team hierarchy. So the application supports multiple hierarchies on a profile by profile basis. Next, we'll take a look at some of the different relationships. You'll notice that there's contacts, board members, products, competitors that are stored on the profile. What this does is allow us to go in and connect different data components or different entities that are clickable. You can drill down and go directly into those other records. So in this case, we could drill down into Ashley. We could see that she's affiliated with Caterpillar. We also have board members that are board members of. We have products that have been sold to us, and we can drill down on those different products as well. Here we're going to highlight the data quality capabilities. This is just some of the out-of-the-box capabilities that we offer. On the left-hand side, you'll notice that we offer out-of-the-box address validation for all of the records that are entered into the Reltio Connected Data Platform. We also offer phone and email validation. And then we offer the capability to build in your own data validation functions. In this case, we've got a visualization facet called data anomalies that's telling us that we're missing a tax ID for this particular profile. Next, I want to talk about interactions. This is one area where Reltio really has a competitive advantage. We also not just can bring in the main data components that would build out a profile, we can bring in interaction or transactional data as well that's connected to the profile. In this case, what we're looking at is that there were certain payments made in this profile. Interactions could also be things like calls to technical support. It could be applications for an insurance policy. Really, any transaction that might apply to the profile can be connected through the interaction screen. Sources and crosswalks. So this is really where the power of the graph and the connected data platform is brought to bear. On the left-hand side, what you see here are the applied operational values. Think of that as the 360-degree view. These are the fields that were displayed on the main profile view a few slides ago. What this screen is doing when you're looking at sources and crosswalks is telling you how the record was brought together. The different colors in the swim lane on the right-hand side tell you all of the different data sources that brought data into the system. For example, the name on the 360-degree view or the operational view is Caterpillar America Services Company. There were 18 different values across all of the different data sources that were evaluated to determine that this was the most valid name that should be stored on the 360-degree view of the record. This was done with different rule types. This one was done based on a ranking of source systems. So there are rankings that you can build in and rules that you can build in to determine that one source is ranked higher than the other. Also notice that you can have other rules, things like recency or oldest value, to help you determine what the operational value might be. And finally, let's talk about matching and merging before we leave the profile. Matching and merging gives you the capability to reconcile possible matches. So this is prior to the merge happening. So the prior screen that we were looking at showed the result of data being merged together. What we're looking at now is things that might be a match that need to be reconciled. And you'll notice that to this particular record, Archer Daniels Midland, there are 3 potential matches. You'll notice the match scores and the match rules that were triggered that brought this data together as a match. The data steward has the capability to decide if they want to merge or define these records as not being a match. If they were merged, the rules that we saw on the prior screen for sources and crosswalks would be applied. And if there were any of these new attributes that were brought in, new values in the attributes that were brought in, they would be applied to the operational view of the record. And finally, to wrap things up, this is a view of the connected graph that sits underneath the covers. It's just a way to visually see all the connectedness of a profile that's stored in the graph. So here we're looking at, again, the Caterpillar America Services Company, and you can see all the different types of connections. There's different types of relationships, but they're all displayed in this graph. You can zoom in and zoom out, and you can also filter this based on the type of relationships that you might want to look at. I want to thank you for your time today, for attending the session to learn how Reltio and Google together can help you achieve actionable insights on your data. If you'd like to try a free trial, you can do that through the Google Marketplace link that's in the description box above. Thank you.